It's so frustrating seeing so many of our star players going down with injury. But no, we will not give in to the temptation to say it's all over. Lesser teams fans do that. With all of that being said, our Packers are going to move forward and play the Bears in Chicago, and with much on the line. Let's talk about it on your Packers Fan Podcast.
Greetings, Packers faithful. I'm Scott Clark with the Gaming Outsider Podcast, and boy, does this one sting. I knew it was going to be a tough matchup, but I was so hopeful after the first half. Sadly, everything just seemed to fall apart in quarters 3 and 4. To make matters worse, we've dropped to a 7 seed in the playoffs. Let's hope things can turn around next week in Chicago.
I'm Wayne Henderson, and I'm gutted. Just hoping we find a way to beat the Bears for the second time in 13 days. On this 336th edition of your Packers Fan Podcast, we'll be reliving some of the highlights and I guess lowlights from the Packers-Broncos game, but we will also be sharing some great insights from the listeners in our listener feedback section.
And as Wayne alluded to, we'll preview next week's Saturday night's Packers at Bears rematch. I've got some keys to victory, so stay tuned for those. But let's get it over with and talk about this game at Denver. I wanted it so bad. For more reason than one. If those in our Facebook group know, I made a wager with my boss that the loser had to wear the jersey of the other guy's team, and
Right.
he's a Broncos fan. And man, going into the first half, I was feeling pretty good. I think this is going to be all right. You know, it's going to be awesome. And then, man, that second half was just brutal. My boss was a real good sport about it. Said he was not going to make me wear it all day long because it was. I don't know if you saw the picture. It was kind of a tight fit. He's quite a bit smaller than I am.
I did see the photo, and orange is not your color.
No. That was thankfully it was the wrong kind of blue, orange and blue. One of my students was like beside himself, begging me to take it off. Like Mr. Clark, he actually was telling me that I should not have made the bet before. He's like, "We're going to lose to the Broncos, Mr. Clark. We're going to lose to the Broncos." And I still kept the bet. He was just so angry with me. He's a hardcore Packers fan. So shout out to, I can't say his name here, but shout out to, you know who you are, buddy. All right. So we did have some leaders on the Packers side of the ball at this game in Denver. Starting off on passing, Jordan Love, 24 out of 40 for 276 yards. Sounds good. 1 touchdown, but then 2 interceptions and a 68.3 passer rating. Man, I want to know what the passer rating was at halftime. I don't know how to figure that out. Because it was great. So good up until that third quarter. Mm-hmm. Rushing, Josh Jacobs, 12 carries for 73 yards and a touchdown, which was a catch, by the way. Not a no. Was a rushing? Did he have a rushing touchdown?
He had one of each.
He had one of each. Receiving, Matthew Golden was the lead receiver. This is a little sad. I'm glad that we're talking about Golden, but the number one receiver on the Green Bay Packers, Matthew Golden, with 3 receptions for 55 yards.
Wow.
A little frustrating. Defense, Quay Walker was the number one guy on that side of the ball. 9 tackles, 3 solos, and 1 tackles for a loss. All right, so let's get into it. The opening drives and highlights. We started on defense, allowed 1 first down on 3rd and short, but the very next drive, Micah Parsons strips the ball, and Edgerrin Cooper recovers it. Green Bay takes over on their own 48. What a great way to start it. You know, you defer the ball, you give them 1 first down, and then strip it and take the ball over at halfway across the field. Things are going good. Got the ball. Looked like it was going to be a quick 3 and out, but LaFleur went for it on 4th down, and Love ran on the left to move the chains. That was really exciting to see. Unfortunately, got stopped on 3rd and short a few plays later. I kind of wish they had challenged the spot on the previous play, as it looked like he crossed the marker before going out of bounds. Even the announcers were like, that might have been a first down. He's gonna throw a flag later, guys. Don't worry, for something that's completely ridiculous. But
good.
At least McManus was able to put one through the uprights and give the Packers the early lead 3-0.
Indeed. And then after another 3 and out for the Broncos, which made us all feel even better, the Packers had an epic drive that, well, could have ended better. Love threw 3 back-to-back long yardage passes that were all incredibly impressive throws. But we had to, again, settle for a field goal. But hey, at this point, we're like, we'll take it. We're ahead 6-0, feeling good. I'm thinking, we're not going to shut them out, but it was a dream anyway.
Then Jacobs catches one in the end zone to give the Packers the lead again with just over 4:29 left in the first half. Seemed like Green Bay was just going to keep shooting themselves in the foot with penalties, and we'll get to more on that later. They did persevere on this drive, however. Jacobs did have an incredible run into the end zone a couple plays before, but it was called back because of a penalty.
Wait, because of a penalty?
Because of a penalty. He got another chance, this time in the air, and for some reason, LaFleur didn't go for two. I was really boggled by this call. Like, why not go for two to extend the lead to a full touchdown? But still got the lead 13-7. I just was very perplexed. It just seemed like that's the time you do it.
Yeah, strike while the iron's hot.
It did feel nice, though, to go into halftime with the lead. Green Bay started their final drive of the second quarter with an error. Could have had the ball at the 35, but the returner touched the ball before it bounced into the end zone. Only got to about the 10-yard line. Man, what a frustrating way to start out that drive. Thankfully, the offense woke up and got McManus in field goal range in less than 2 minutes, even though they only had one timeout. It was good, and the Packers went into the locker room with a lead of 16-14. Should have been 17-14 with that 2-point conversion, but yeah, just saying. I was on cloud nine. Like, this is going great, guys, going great.
And halftime adjustments could have made things even better. Now, we did open the second half in style, solid drive with what some would call a lucky call in our favor. Denver was called for pass interference on Golden, which wound up being a 25-yard penalty in our favor. Very next play, Jacobs ran one for 40 yards to extend the Green Bay lead. An absolutely gorgeous run. The Packers lead 23-14. And yeah, the fields were good all around. And yeah.
It was an awesome play to watch. We did get away with one. That PI call, man. Anyway.
Oh, well, the Broncos got away with about 30 on Micah Parsons. So,
the last low light I've got, it leads into a low light, unfortunately, but it was pretty cool to see some big stops on fourth down at midfield to give the Packers offense two more shots in the final quarter. That's impressive. Just wish the offense could have capitalized on it instead of what we're going to talk about in just a second.
Yeah. Low lights aplenty, and not just the obvious ones. The Packers shot themselves in the foot on the opening of the second quarter. Penalties just hurt us more than anything. Pointless, unnecessary roughness calls, and really lucky that Parsons didn't get an interference call that was kind of obvious.
He grabbed his arm, like tugged on his arm.
Well,
what in the?
He was probably thinking that he's invisible to the officials, so why not try to dish it the other way? They went ahead, marched down the field. Bandy caught one, ran it in for a score, and this was when the Broncos took their first lead, 7-6. But I was not worried at all at that point.
I wasn't either. Started to get a little bit nervous because they could not keep the Broncos out of the end zone after the 2-minute warning in the first half. The defense started to look like it was already the fourth quarter. It was just way too early in the game to be this gassed. Broncos actually got in the red zone, but was ruled down by contact. I think Green Bay got away with one there as well. Unfortunately, Knicks found another receiver in the end zone to give Denver the lead once again. This was a back and forth game for the first half. Broncos were ahead 14-13 at this point. It really felt like a game that was going to be won by the last team that scored. It just was just a shootout. Yeah. Really thought that's how it was going to wind up, but sadly, it wasn't even that exciting.
Yeah, because Jordan Love threw the first of two picks in the third quarter. Why we're throwing deep balls instead of running down the clock, kind of puzzling. And to make matters worse, Watson hurt his shoulder, wound up in the locker room, and that let Denver close the gap with a great pass in the end zone. We were still leading 23-21, but I was just gutted already with just Watson being hurt. I didn't know that was the tip of the iceberg.
I mean, I swear that guy can't go 3 games without getting hurt. It's just insane. He's so quick. And I think it actually was a chest injury. I think I actually typed in here shoulder, but I think the official ruling was something in his chest. But he looked like he was in a lot of pain. This, to me, was the turning point of the game.
Yep.
I actually said that this was the point where everything just went downhill, and I was like, this is the ball game, because it just felt like such a momentum shift. Like the air was just deflated out of the entire team on both sides after this play. And I just did not. I don't pay attention to the play calls as much as people like Dan Dyler and whatnot, but I was just absolutely pissed off with this. We are up by 2 scores at this point. Or no, maybe not. No, we were up. We had been up by two scores at one point, and we're throwing deep balls like we're gonna just lean on them or something like that. No, when you are up by 2 scores, you protect the lead and you run out the clock. Keep their defense on the field as much as possible to wear them out. And this deep ball, sure, I'd be very happy if he caught it, but because of that, it was a drop pass, and we lost a very talented receiver, probably for the rest of the season at this point. It just made me so angry. It's just so unnecessary. The Packers, historically, have been so much better when they are just doing those short, quick passes and then getting the yak. You know what I mean? Like these long bombs, they're awesome when they happen, but and I just got done praising the previous drive where they had 3 in one drive, and it was awesome, but they weren't ahead at that point. They needed to score. You know what I mean? This is a protect the lead kind of situation, and it just really made me angry. Off my soapbox now.
I have a theory, though, that maybe they figured, hey, we're at Mile High Stadium. The air's thinner. Let's take advantage and go nuts.
Yeah, how'd that work out for him?
Not all that great.
And then, Micah Parsons goes down with, at the time, literally a knee injury at the end of the third quarter. This was a non-impact play. Landed on his leg kind of funny, twisted it. We did end up learning that he tore his ACL, which, from my experience, he's not coming back this season. That's we'll see in 2026, buddy. To make matters worse, the Denver offense made its way to the end zones to close out the quarter. The only silver lining we had there was the defense kept the Broncos from converting for 2 points. So the Broncos were up 27-23 at this point. It's getting pretty nervous. And then if the interception, that first pick, didn't just deflate everybody, this was just crazy.
Yeah.
Just so sad.
Momentum killer. And then the Broncos score yet again with 7:27 left in the game because penalties are killing us, plus giving Bo Nix entirely too much time in the pocket. And then Harvey ran one in to extend their lead. They're up 34-26. And I thought, boy, Scott's going to be wearing a Broncos jersey in a few hours.
Yeah, right. And then disaster strikes as Love throws his second pick of the game. Not really sure this one was Love's fault. Wicks simply missed the catch, and the ball bounced into the hands of the defender. It was a good pass. It should have been caught. There were so many passes that the receivers should have caught. I feel like if this had been a colder weather game, they had been fine. It's like they're used to the climate, and they catch better when it's really cold outside. But this one just really sucked.
Yeah, mathematically, we weren't out of it. We had 2 more opportunities after stopping the Broncos on 4th down. The first attempt, we couldn't even convert a first down on 4 tries, and on the second attempt, repeat with a false penalty to boot, and that's the ball game. Denver wins 34-26. Micah Parsons is hurt. Watson's hurt. Wiley's hurt. Zach Tom's hurt. There's more, but oh my goodness, it's terrible. So, wrapping that up with the weekly poll question to find out what you're thinking, folks. And the poll question's always in our Facebook group shortly after the game ends at PackersCommunity.com, as well as on X at Packers Fan Pod. The loss to Denver, it's basically a reality check. The Bears will surely try to copy what the Broncos did. So what is the most concerning kink in the armor that could cost us the game in Chicago this Saturday night? Is it the rushing pressure on Jordan Love? Is it our red zone stagnation? Is it our discipline and penalties? Or basically the injuries and their psychological impact? Scott?
It's an easy answer for me. This is going to be injuries and their psychological impact. I think, the impact that the psychological impact that the injuries have, for certain. Micah Parsons has been just a beast, not only on the field, but he has been such like the rallying guy. He's like the Clay Matthews of this team. Just like really inspiring guys to get out there and do stuff and kind words and so quick. I think that I don't know if I didn't see the press conference after the game, but I had heard that there were tears from multiple players. Like they are just, I think they're defeated. So I think that's going to be the biggest impact on this game is the psychological impact because of the injuries. What about you?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on this one. Just the psychological impact on the whole team, but also the psychological impact on the fans, and maybe even flipping it over, the impact on the psychological side of things with the upcoming Bears players. It's a kink in the armor, but we can overcome. The votes, when you combine them all from X as well as on Facebook, 75% went with the injuries and the impact. 12% voted for the discipline and the penalties, 6% for our red zone stagnation all of a sudden, and 7% the rushing pressure on Jordan Love. And we had one comment on X from Mark who said, none of the above. We need to generate pressure on the opposing quarterback. Parsons did that on every play. Several players will need to step up. Not wrong.
Notice he didn't just say two. He didn't say that we need two guys to take his place. He said several people need to step up.
Right.
With that said, I understand that this is devastating. The loss of Christian Watson, Micah Parsons, and plenty of other players. But here's the deal. Somebody in my text group made a point yesterday that, look, we are a team. We are not one or two guys. We are a team, and we've gotten where we are. The team has gotten where they are because of their resilience, because of their perseverance. This loss sucks. They just need to get past it, suck it up, and just win this next game in Chicago, because it is so important, not just because of playoffs, but because it's freaking Chicago. But yeah, it's a team sport. It sucks to lose those players, but stranger things have happened.
Right. And as the week goes on, we'll learn a little bit more. We'll start looking forward more emotionally to Chicago and kind of getting over this game, because we do have to put it in the rearview mirror, just like the players do. And it's going to be just one of those things. And I think that it's going to be okay. In the playoffs last year, or near the end of the season, even last year, we didn't have Watson, and we did not yet have Micah Parsons. It's going to be okay in one way or another. So please join us in the Packers Fan Podcast Facebook community group. Be part of the conversations. Again, it's at packerscommunity.com. We'll have a live game chat section as usual for Saturday night's Packers at Bears game. We want to see you in there as things unfold, hopefully for very wonderful things all night long.
Moving on to listener feedback, we want you to be part of the next episode with your insights after watching the game against the Bears especially. Let your voice be heard. You can do it a couple of ways. First off, you can record your voice attached to an email and send to feedback@PackersFanPodcast.com, or you can call the old PFP voicemail line at +1 920 3PACK-GO. Since this game is on Saturday night and you have a bit more time, please, please, please send in your feedback by 10 p.m. Central on Sunday. Thank you so much, and go Pack Go. What's our first voicemail, Wayne?
Our first one is Art in the great state of Texas.
Wayne Scott, Art from Texas. How depressing. How sad. First of all, for the players themselves. I hope they come back well, and I hope the recovery is good and speedy. Man, what? Keyshawn Nixon, oh my gosh. Something needs to be done about that guy. I think we had a really good chance of winning this game. It was very winnable. Had it not been for the darn injuries. Not taking too much away from the Broncos. They're a good team. But I think the Packers would have won. I mean, Zach Tom, Christian Watson, Micah Parsons, Jenkins. Yeah, that's a lot to overcome. I guess back to the drawing board. Before I feel okay about the offense because we've been a good offense without Christian Watson. It just makes us great with him. And same thing on the defense. We've had a good defense, but Michael Parsons would make us a great defense. But I don't know. I'm very skeptical about our corners, like Keyshawn Nixon, for example. But I don't know. I think we'll still make it to the playoffs, and I think we'll maybe win one, maybe even two. I don't mean to sound like a Debbie Downer, guys. I mean, I'm fresh off of this game. We'll see what happens moving forward. Hopefully, people can step up and we can be the good team that we were last year without Parsons and without Watson. And we'll see what happens. Go Pack, go regardless. Green and gold, and I'm dead and cold.
Go Pack, go indeed. Art, thank you so much for your call. I'm glad you brought up Keyshawn Nixon because I did not bring him up in our recap. That guy is really starting to make me angry. Even like before the game started, and this is related, I promise. Before the game started, they were showing like how chippy the teams were getting with each other. Every shot they showed, it looked like the Packers started it. It looked like we were the jerks, and that really just feels totally against the spirit of the Packers team and players and the owners. It was very embarrassing. I feel like just a lot of the getting in the faces, and Keyshawn Nixon has been in the center of so much of it. I've had so much respect for that guy and what he's been able to do on defense. Knock it off, dude. Keep your hands to yourself. Keep your comments to yourself. It's costing us, and it needs to stop. I'll get off my soapbox again.
Okay, that soapbox, man, you're wearing out the wood varnish on there. But Art, yeah, I agree. We're definitely sad for the players that are injured, as well as the rest of the team that's trying to overcome it. And yeah, we feel pretty good about the offense, and the defense was good even before Micah got there. Just like I was saying earlier, thinking along the same lines. And yeah, you did call like shortly after the game. And so every day that passes, things get a little more optimistic. And this is exactly why Scott and I do not record the podcast right after the game.
I wish you could see it's now a tradition. You remember I told you I got that flag from my neighbor that I fly out in front of the house on game day,
right? Yeah.
So as soon as the game is over, I do one of two things, both involving going out on my front stoop and grabbing the flag. If they win, I'm waving it around and screaming "Go Pack, go" to nobody in my neighborhood, or I'm just picking it up, rolling it up, and putting it back behind my TV inside. Sadly, it was the latter this week.
Hopefully for the last time this season.
Yeah.
No, Pack, no, not Micah. Oh, wow. That is just absolutely heartbreaking, absolutely devastating, not just from a team perspective, not as a fan perspective, but from his perspective. I don't know how he's feeling, how he's dealing with this, because he has just been giving it everything that he has in his body and his mind to will this team to a Super Bowl and to another championship. When this game started, we had the third best odds to win the Super Bowl. And how about some perspective? Even with that injury, we've only dropped down to number 7. So there is light at the end of the tunnel. We have a lot of things to look forward to, even though we've lost our Quay Walker and Egbari. In the game, we lost Zach Tom, Evan Williams, Josh Weil. We've also lost, of course, Tucker Kraft. We don't know exactly what's going on with Watson. It sounds like Watson's injury is very minor. It's going to be day-to-day. They say he may actually play against the Bears, and it all comes down to pain tolerance and range of motion with his arm, I guess. We were out without Savion Williams again, and the guy that apparently can't play a game, Marshawn Lloyd. We have no idea what's going on with him. We just got to keep our heads up, though. I mean, we still have 3 games left to play. We're favored against the Bears somehow. So put on those rose-colored glasses, Wayne. I know you got them. I mean, we still got Jaden Reed. We got Golden. We got Wicks. We got Dubs. We got Musgraves. one person does not make up the team. I mean, he made a huge part of the psyche of the team, and he played a huge leadership role with the team. But we still have 3 games left. We still have an over 90% chance of making the playoffs. And it's, I said it in one of my comments, I think, on the Packers Fan Podcast poll, the next man up mentality. I'm not sure how many more men are out there that can move up, but it's time to dig deep. Remember back in the 2010 run, I think we had 16 players on IR. We have fewer players on IR this year. Now, I will say that I did like how they came out aggressive and took the lead. I was on that play that Watson was injured on. I'm nobody. I'm just a guy that watches football from his couch. But we were up by 2 scores. I don't know why they wanted to go for the kill shot with the kind of defense that we have, the kind of defense that they have. Just go out and play ball. There's no need to take these chances. And now, you started the Russian roulette, and Watson got his chest injured. It was bad enough that he actually had to go to the hospital. Fortunately, like I said, it sounds like hopefully he'll be able to come back and play against the Bears, because we're going to need him. We're going to need all the help that we can get. We're done. The trade deadline has passed, so we're not going to be making any trades. The team that we have is the team we have that we're going to go into the postseason with. Absolutely loved watching the parts on TV. I don't know if I've watched a broadcast where I could hear the "Go Pack Goes" so loudly at an opposing stadium. That was awesome to hear. But yeah, save for all the injuries that we had and the dumb penalties that were being committed, we would have absolutely won that game, especially if those penalties. There was a lot of indiscipline in this game for some reason. I don't know if the altitude got to them and they weren't thinking straight or what it was, but it is what it is. We lost the game, but all is not lost. We got the Bears coming up, going to their house. We always own them. We've owned them since 1992, I believe it is, when Favre came in and started the streak. Can't wait to see what Jeff Hafley and Matt LaFleur and the other coaching staff, what they come up with, kind of a game plan. It's going to be awesome. And I know this is not going to, this won't come as a surprise, but I'm going to have to pick a Packer win. 19-15. Packers win. Go, 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 Pack, go.
Go Pack, go indeed. Dan, thank you so much for sending that in to us. Great points about the injured as well as the healthy players and questioning the hero ball and getting Watson injured. He's heard that Watson might actually be able to play this week against the Bears. It's kind of day to day. That's amazing.
That's amazing. He looked like he was in a lot of pain, but that would be definitely helpful. Enough to maybe make me, rethink my wager a fun guess.
Uh-oh. Spoilers.
No, not going to, but
okay.
It's close.
But if Watson can't be back, it's got to be Golden. Golden's just got to take over this game because the Bears may not be ready for him.
He still hasn't got a touchdown. Like, what in the world?
Well, maybe he'll get 2 this week in Chicago. I don't know how we are favored against the Bears in Chicago, but okay. I'm not putting money on the game, but whatever. And speaking of the next man up mentality, and Dan, you mentioned that there may not be enough men left on the team, but I'm also thinking about how the next man up is a great philosophy for most of the team, but it just does not apply when it's Micah Parsons. Everybody's going to have to step up. The entire defense needs to step up and make Micah Parsons proud.
Absolutely. I am also glad that Dan brought up the Go Pack Go chants in the stadium. They were insanely loud. It was astounding how much you could hear that, how distinct it was, even across I don't have a sound system set up in my living room. Yeah, and I'm just hearing it through the speakers. It was awesome to hear. I think one of the announcers even said the Packer fans travel well, and it's true. They really do. All right, moving on to email. We got one here. It says, "Hey, Wayne and Scott, Jared in Colorado, sending you a written note since my voice is shot from being at the game. Last night was a heartbreaker, and I don't mean that due to the obvious playoff seeding implications that stem from it. It was just an absolute soul-crushing night of injuries to key players who were crucial to the team's success in the postseason. You really, really hate to see it. The game itself was a close one, which I think was expected. That Broncos defense is truly just a wrecking ball, and it showed. Being at the game, myself and other Packers fans were feeling pretty good when the Pack seemed like they were starting to run away with the game. Lots of Go Pack goes in the stands, but that love pick to Surtain, coupled with injuries, completely swung the momentum in Denver's favor. Thank you. See, somebody else is with me. That was the turning point of the game. It was like watching a car wreck in slow motion. The Broncos fan base, unfortunately, has taken a downgrade to Raiders level of sports fandom. I just will never understand fans cheering for opposing players' injuries and actively rooting for more of them, like what was happening around me in the stands. It was a huge disappointment, as they have always been positive to be around in past Packers versus Broncos games I've attended in Denver. Sigh. I nonetheless had a wonderful time at the game. It was my first Packers game I've been to in person with both my mom and my brother, so that'll always be a special memory for me. It was also our first tailgate experience. I didn't just attend, but also planned and grilled for. That is something that no loss can take away from. Green and gold till dead and gold. Here's to Packers versus Bears 2.0. Jared in Colorado. P.S. I think I'll stop going to Packers games in Denver. They've lost every single game I've been to. Had hoped my son's jersey picking would reverse course, but alas, here we are. LOL. Thanks, Jared. So unfortunate you had a bad fan experience. I cheering for injuries. You will never catch me doing that. No, ever. No. If I even hint at that, I want you to call me out on that, because I will never, ever cheer for an injury. Safety and I don't care whose team we're talking about. I will never cheer for a Bears injury. It's just not the kind of person I am. And kind of to repeat what I said earlier, it's not in the spirit of Green Bay Packers football.
Agreed. I totally agree. I do like, Jared, that you were able to do a full tailgating experience with you taking on some of the grilling and all of that. And that is definitely a memory to cherish and hang on to, and that nobody can take it away from you. So we appreciate the email. Hope your voice is feeling better by the time you hear this podcast episode, because we need to hear more of your Go Pack Goes all the way in Chicago on the broadcast as you shout it from the Denver area. So your 9-4-1 Green Bay Packers are staying on the road, going to Chi-Town for a rematch of last week's victory over the now 10-4 Bears, Saturday, December 20th at 7:20 p.m. Central Time. The Packers still lead this series, so we got that 109-96 and 6 ties. And when you break it down, Green Bay Packers have scored 3,790 points against the Bears all time. And the Bears have scored, well, I guess you can't call it a paltry 3,631 points against the Packers. So Green Bay, keep racking up the points like you're trying to set the high score on the Addams Family pinball machine, would you?
That's a great table, by the way.
Best ever. And since it's only been 2 weeks since we last played and beat the Bears, there's not much else to preview that we didn't cover just back on episode 334. Although it's going to be very interesting to hear Scott's keys to another Packers victory for this rematch coming up in just a little bit. But first, I thought it was notable that Julius Peppers, Josh Sitton, among numerous others, have played for the Packers and the enemy Bears. Even Supreme Bears jackass Jim McMahon spent the end of his career as one of Brett Favre's backups, including that magical Super Bowl season, which had nothing to do with Jim McMahon.
I also had a good memory. I don't know if you remember this game. This is pre-Favre. Back in 1989, the instant replay game. Do you remember this game, Wayne?
Oh, yeah. Legendary.
We're trailing 13-7 in the final minutes. Packers quarterback Don Majkowski threw a game-winning touchdown pass that was initially called back for crossing the line of scrimmage. It went to instant replay, which overturned the call, handing the Packers a dramatic 14-13 victory and infuriating Bears coach Mike Ditka. I went back and kind of watched some of that, and man, I forgot how old football looked in the late 80s. It looks so different compared to now. It's just kind of crazy. That's just how we watched football back then. It's insane.
Right. And imagine how different the current game is going to look when we look at that in about 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's just amazing how it's evolving for better and sometimes worse. Now, everybody's been talking about how it's 6 degrees in Chicago, 2 degrees and all of that. It's warming up a little bit. The weather at kickoff at Soldier Field is forecast to be cloudy and 36 degrees Fahrenheit at kickoff. That's 2 less layers, right? And it's 2 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, but you got to keep in mind, man, that is a 7:00 game. So it's just going to get colder as that day goes on. This past weekend, when the Bears did play, it was like negative degrees with the wind chill. It was nuts. But yeah, I did my game for the year, and it wasn't extraordinarily cold, so I'm good to watch this one on the comfort of a couch.
Nice. And what are you going to expect the Packers to do to bring a victory to your television set Saturday night?
All right, let's go with strategy number 1, controlling the line of scrimmage. The Bears' offense is built around establishing a dominant ground attack, evidenced by their high ranking in recent big games from running backs DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monungai. The Packers are going to need to force Caleb Williams into a drop-back passing game on 3rd down. This sounds familiar. It's very similar to what I talked about last time we matched up against the Bears. If Green Bay's defensive line, sadly, without Micah Parsons, can win the run battles and keep the Bears' running game contained, it will force Williams to rely on his arm and accuracy, which has been a weakness this season. He has the lowest completion percentage in the league.
Oh,
that is 100%
too
true.
bad.
Yeah. Strategy number 2, exploit the middle of the field with intermediate routes. Without Christian Watson's elite speed, which it sounds like he might be back, but when I wrote this, we thought I just assumed he was going to be there. But the Packers are going to have to pivot to a possession-based passing game that attacks the area between the linebackers and the safeties. By forcing Jordan Love to make quick, high-percentage throws, the Packers can keep the chains moving, limit the time the Bears' pass rush has to get home, and continue to control the clock, all while negating the Bears' turnover-heavy defense. And speaking of, we got to do number 3, especially preserve possessions. The Chicago Bears lead the league in takeaways this season, which is very scary for me as the Packers going in there, especially after we had 2 picks this last game. Conversely, the Packers went into Denver yesterday, giving up the fewest turnovers in the entire league. Unfortunately, the 2 picks this week hurt those stats, but it should be a wake-up call to go back to prioritizing possession protection. If the Packers continue to play clean football, they negate the Bears' single biggest advantage and force Chicago's defense to sustain long drives. And there you have it. 3 keys to a Green Bay Packers victory.
3 green and gold keys. I love it, Scott. I can see the victory already unfolding before my eyes. Thank you.
Not a problem. Moving on to our 2025 season wager fun. It's worth noting, Wayne, that I was feeling really good because the points were going pretty much in my favor going into the 3rd quarter. And I was like, all right, I got this. All I need is for them to win. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. So that pretty much negated any points being distributed this week.
And let it be known that I noticed that as well, but I was definitely not rooting for the Packers to lose just so you wouldn't get the Wager Fun victory. I wanted the Packers to win next time.
So all of the Packers fans, podcast listeners chose the Packers to win this game as well. So nothing really moved this week. Wayne and I are still tied 4-4 with 2 ties. Kind of crazy. 3 weeks of football left, man, and we're at a tie. It's usually someone's running away with it. You did 4. I mean, I got 4 unanswered wins. Who would have thought this was going to come down to the wire this season, but that's been kind of crazy. So in first place on the listener side, Jay Walter is still in the lead with 3 wins. Second place, Dan Dyler with 2.5 wins. Third place, David Hawkins, Brett Connor, and Thomas Carlson, each with a win each. And fourth place, we gave David Newman a half a win because he tied with Dan Dyler the previous week. So this week, Wayne, I am going to pick a Green Bay Packers win, not just because they're favored and all that kind of good stuff, but I think it's going to be I think this one actually is going to be a shootout, and it's going to come down to the last team that scores. I'm going to say Green Bay 24, Chicago 20.
All righty. I am nervous as heck about this game, but I do think the Packers are going to win it. We are going to score 24. The Bears are going to score 21. It's going to be way too close, but we're going to win with a standard 24-21 victory. Go Pack, go.
Interesting. Just 1 point away from me. All right. On the PFP listener side, Garrett Stritzel says Green Bay 21, Chicago 17. Thomas Carlson says Chicago 28, Green Bay 16. Dan actually revised his pick. He now says Green Bay 26, Chicago 24. And Brett Connor also says Chicago's going to win this one 24-20. So we're not going to have any goose eggs this week is what I'm saying.
Right. And it's been a long time since we've had two listeners call for the Packers to lose. Not because they want them to lose, obviously, but this is going to be interesting to see how it all shakes out. A quick point that the Packers Fan Podcast Fantasy Football League season is going to be wrapping up soon. It's in the playoffs right now, and Scott and I aren't. And as our Wager O Fun competition goes on, as long as the Packers Super Bowl run lasts, I'll be shipping out some custom T-shirts to the winners of both the Fantasy Football League and the Wager O Fun competition, as well as some other swag from the PFP. Bragging rights, of course, are on the line. So just wanted to throw that out there. Now, the NFC North, the Bears are back on top, 10-4. But they, of course, play the Packers this week. Then they go to Frisco, and then they play the Lions. So not exactly an easy stretch for them. We're in Chicago. Then the Ravens come to Lambeau, who don't look unbeatable anymore. And then we go to Minnesota to wrap up the season. That's very winnable. The Lions are currently 8-6. They play Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers, who will definitely help us out by beating the Lions, I think. And then the Lions go to Minnesota and then to Chicago. So not an easy stretch for them either. And the Vikings, well, they are out of it, officially out of it. They're 5-8, 5-9, something terrible. They play the Giants, and then they play the Lions, and then the Packers. But it don't matter because they're out. Bye-bye, Vikings.
I thought they were still in. They won last night, so they are.
I think they were officially eliminated earlier in the day.
Because was it? Okay.
With the Bears winning, that knocked them out.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, they did beat Dallas last night. I woke up and saw that, and I was like, what?
Exactly.
So, yeah. Anyway, some other NFL happenings that caught our eye this week. The Chiefs are officially eliminated from the playoffs.
Wow.
The Chargers beat them, which made it official this week. This is the first time they haven't made the playoffs in 11 years, since 2014. But to make it even worse for Kansas City fans, Mahomes suffered a torn ACL as well. So he's clearly not going to be coming back this season either. Man, I like Mahomes. I know that I like Mahomes better than I like Kansas City, if that makes sense.
Interesting.
I really like Mahomes and I like Reed. I'm just tired of them being on top all the time. So I am never going to cheer for a player's injury, but I'm definitely not going to cheer for Mahomes' injury, and I hope he gets a speedy recovery.
There you go. And how about something we didn't expect 8 days ago was that Phillip Rivers is making his comeback to start as the Colts quarterback. First time he had played in 5 years. He's 44 years old. And there are 4 or 5 players on the Colts who are younger than Phillip Rivers' child, of which he has many.
It's crazy.
Seattle did wind up winning the game with a field goal with 18 seconds left. But up until that point, if the Colts defense hadn't have faltered in the final minute of the game, Phillip Rivers would have beaten the Seahawks in Seattle. Amazing.
That would have been crazy. Also, I feel like I never see fake field goal attempts live anymore. I always see replays of them, but I did in the Dallas-Minnesota game on Sunday night. It was also a fake like I've never seen before. Did you see this play?
No, I did not.
So they hiked the ball to the placeholder, which is normal, but then he tossed it to Aubrey, the kicker, who ran it for a first down. It was almost like he just got the ball and then tossed it over his shoulder without looking, and it just went right to Aubrey, and Aubrey ran and slid for a first down. It almost felt like a Wildcat direct snap, although it wasn't a direct snap, but it was just like this snap to here, then boop, and he was just gone. Completely fooled the defense. It was kind of fun to watch. I recommend going and just looking at that play because it looked like something. I think the announcers even said it looks like one of those things that you practice, but it never works. And this one actually worked. It was pretty fun to see.
I will have to look for it. Is it in the first quarter? Do you recall?
Yes, because I didn't actually watch after the second quarter. So
okay, and I tuned in right around halftime just to see what was going on when I saw it was tied. Interesting. And how about this? The Buffalo Bills, you can never count them out. They were down 21-0 to the Patriots in the second quarter. You guessed it. They came from behind to win again. Amazing.
Just insane. Man, Josh Allen is the real deal. It's kind of crazy. All right. My other podcast, The Gaming Outsider, has a new episode out this week, and we're discussing the Game Awards, which is more or less the Oscars of the video game industry. We're going to be recapping all that and talking about what we liked. And also, they do a bunch of announcements and things that are coming out in the near future. I also played the Marvel's Cosmic Invasion, which is a fun beat-em-up starring Marvel characters. It's free on Game Pass. It's a lot of fun. If you'd like to check it out, you can hear my show at the same places you listen to this one, and you can also find our website at thegamingoutsider.com.
Awesome. And are the rumors true that you finally started watching Silo on Apple TV?
I did. I'm on like episode 8 or 9 of the first season. I've been barreling through it. That show is really good.
Yes, it certainly is. I'm patiently waiting for season 3 to drop. I think it may be coming out in January. They're filming season 3 and 4 at the same time, just to lock in all the actors for as long as they can. And then it's definitely just a 4-season story. And in some ways, I kind of wish I had not have read the books because they seem to be sticking pretty close to the books, and they're really good books. But it's going to be exciting to see where things go in season 3.
It's interesting you said that because I was kind of wishing I had read the books before because I love doing the compare and contrast game. You know, when you read the source material and then you watch the movie.
That's what I was doing.
That. Yeah. And I kind of wish I had, but we'll have different perspectives on it. So that's cool.
Now, I do need to forewarn you since you're barreling through, but maybe it won't have the same effect since you're binging it. Season 2, a lot of people thought was a little bit slow in the middle, but they're leading up to something. And the final 2 or 3 episodes of season 2, everything starts falling into place. And let's just say when you think the season 2 finale's over, don't switch off your streaming device just yet.
Okay.
Fair enough. And then you'll know what's in store coming our way in January.
Mm-hmm. We really appreciate you giving back to support the old PFP at PackersFanPodcast.com/give back. Leading off, Jay Walters. Thanks and Go Pack Goes for your Bart Star level support. Dan Dyler, Go Pack Goes, and thank yous to you and yours for your Jordan Love level patronage.
And here's our Brett Favre level patrons. Thank you and Go Pack Goes, Scott Boers, Megan, and Miguel Ramirez. And of course, Go Pack Goes and thanks to these Lambo level patrons, Hank Davis from the Podcast Gear News podcast. Also, Brett Connor and Joe Christensen. Check out the details on ways that you can support the show, if you'd like, at Packers Fan Podcast/give back.
The Unofficial Packers Fan Podcast is not affiliated with the NFL or the Green Bay Packers, but please tell even more of your friends about Packers Fan Podcast. Your Amazon delivery driver, your UPS delivery folks, you get the picture. Tell everybody.
Yes, please. And then follow us on X, or Scott says it's still Twitter. We are at Packers Fan Pod. He is at GoCast Scott. His Gaming Outsider podcast is at The GoCast, and I'm at Wayne Henderson. And to close out this week with their Go Pack Go outro, here's our PFP community members, Megan, Joe Christensen, Andre in LA, and Dan Dyler.
Go Pack Go!
Go Pack Go!
Go Pack Go! Go, 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 Pack